I wanted to talk to you guys about a concept that's relevant in YouTube now called reused content. One thing that's catching up a lot of people who are applying for YouTube monetization for the first time, or even people who were grandfathered in under the old rules, but who are now finding themselves demonetized, is this concept of reused content. I think that the issue here is that the way that YouTube publicly describes reused content is a bit narrow from how YouTubers are thinking about it. And so I wanted to kind of give some of my thoughts and opinions on what I think this really means. Because I'm a huge, big, fat nerd, and I've been paying attention on lots of threads on Twitter, on the YouTube Reddit, and on the YouTube help community. I've seen a lot of threads about demonetization, especially due to reused content. I'm not a YouTube employee in any sense, but these are my thoughts based on trends that I've seen. First, I want to start by reading kind of what YouTube would say publicly in their help community in their article about what reused content is. They say that reused content is content that doesn't provide significant original commentary or educational value. It may also mean that we've identified large portions of your channel either completely matching other content or that are noticeably similar. Examples include third-party videos stitched together with minimal or no changes, third-party content compiled without a narrative, content uploaded somewhere else first, and content uploaded many times by multiple users. Now, I understand where YouTube wants to go with this, but I think that this is a very narrow definition, and I think that people are getting caught up because of the narrowness of this definition. So, for example, I think that a lot of people interpret this as meaning that if your content was uploaded by another YouTuber first, then that is reuse. And so if you can say that you recorded your video first or something like that, then it can't be reused content. But I don't think that's the case. I think that reused content more broadly can mean something closer to whenever the YouTube reviewers are going through your channel, they can't tell that you are the YouTuber who created that content. I know a lot of musicians, since I am one myself, and I pay very close attention to the music community and things that are happening on YouTube because it's very personal to me. And I know musicians who they're creating their own music and then they upload it to YouTube and then they get hit with reused content and their channel's demonetized. They aren't re-uploading anyone's content. But one thing that I've noticed is that in a lot of these cases of reused content with the music especially, is that it generally happens to musicians who do not have visual presence in their YouTube videos. So for example, musicians who may have a static image or who may have third-party video to go along with their music that they've created themselves. Or, I've seen this a lot with channels that do beats or channels that do backing tracks and things like that, where the point isn't for them to be seen on camera, it's for this music so that people can know that it's available to download or whatever. And it just seems to me that the common theme in these cases is the lack of visual presence. And so I think that instead of YouTube limiting it to solely where they have identified, oh, someone else has uploaded this and this matches that, I don't think it works like that. I think it's a lot broader than that. I think the challenge is that not every type of content can have the YouTubers show their face. And so what can be done about that? I've seen some threads on the old help forum where YouTube has said that adding additional context in the description of the video can be helpful. The challenge here is, how do you really show that you created content if you're just describing about it in the description? But I think it would be interesting if you or someone you know has been hit with demonetization due to reused content, if changing the description was able to work for you. I want to hear from you. Do you know people who have been hit with the monetization for reused content? What was their channel like? What kind of content were they posting? Do you know people who have gotten hit with reused content who were able to successfully remonetize their channels? Because I do know that there are now some cases where this has happened. I want to say that in the music space, Sheet Music Boss, like, they had that issue. They made a fuss about it on Twitter and their channels remonetized. I want to say Rousseau, they're like a piano cover music channel with the kind of synthesia of lighting coming from, but it's their hands and that sort of thing. I heard that they were demonetized and they were able to remonetize. And I think that in these cases, these show us that it's possible to remonetize even without changing your content drastically, but we need more information about what's happening to help these channels remonetize. But I want to understand more cases where people are being remonetized. What's their situation? What are they doing to try to change their content? Are they changing their content, or are they just changing how they're describing it? And is it working? Because the more that we can document cases that people have been able to successfully appeal these things, the more we are better able to understand what YouTube really considers to be reused content. Then we are better able to, as a community, make content that, puts us more in a safe zone. So I hope that you can help me in this, and I hope that you can provide your own example. Share this with anyone who's a YouTube creator who's worried about this or who's experiencing this, and hopefully maybe we can try to figure this out together. Thanks.